Alright, so let's finish up the Mummy trilogy with Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Now, I grew up with the first two. So when they announced that there's a third one coming out, I was excited. I'm like, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to see how they're going to continue the story from the last one. Because the first two are very connected in the way their stories are. They found a way to connect the Scorpion King with Imhotep and intertwine both movies together. So I wondered how they're going to do it with the third one. They didn't. This movie feels like it's set in the same universe as the first two, but it's a completely standalone. Like, in the comic books, DC has Elseworld stories. It feels like an Elseworld story. Very much the O'Connells are adventurers. They have a son named Alex. Jonathan is there. And they've faced mummies before. But here, it's different. For one, it takes place in China. Now, I'm no genius, and I could be wrong, but I've never heard of mummies in China. They've always been an Egyptian type thing. But apparently, the mummies in China, whatever. Has to do with an emperor. He's played by Jet Li, and it has something to do with, I don't really care, but it has something to do with, he was in love with a woman, but the general, or the emperor was in love with a woman, but the general was having an affair with the woman, so he kills the general by having his arms and legs ripped off by horses going in each different directions, and then stabs and attempts to kill the woman that he loved, that betrayed him. Now, we later find out that there's, what her name, Ling, or whatever her name is, Alex's love interest. She's the daughter of this woman. Bullshit. I'm not saying she can't be. She is. But, now, because I was putting this in my head, okay, so she was the product of their love. Okay, I get why she was born. And then we see the emperor stab her in the stomach. At a point where the child was barely a fetus. I'm no doctor. She said that the Yetis saved her and, stopped her from dying. With that stuff that they use later on O'Connell to keep her alive. And I'm assuming they're leading us to believe that because the daughter was in the womb when it was saved, she's also invincible, or she used it after the fact. But the problem is, stabbed her in the stomach. I know it was kind of early, but barely got started, the baby. I don't think the baby would have survived, especially that early. Being stabbed, I don't know. It's hard for me to grasp that. I don't know. And it's a little bit different because, when at the start of the film, Evie and O'Connell, they're retired. By the way, they replaced the actress for... That was one of the things that got me nervous going into this, is that Rachel Weisz wasn't coming back. Instead, they got Maria Bello to play Evie, and I think that's why it's more of a taken away. Like, it's not connected. They actually had plans to do a fourth film after this, but they didn't do it, of course. They went to the Tom Cruise one, which it itself is technically set inside the same world because in, spoiler alert, Dr. Jekyll's lab or office, they have the Book of the Dead there. So, it's set in the same universe. Yay! But, so technically I could do that one too, but I'm going to wait on that one because I want to move on to other ones. They're not in franchises. But, So, yeah, Maria Bello is Evie this time, and that makes it even more disconnected because I think they were, or at least I hoped that they were going to continue off of what happened at the end of the second one. Like this one, there's no Imhotep, there's nothing to do with the first two, and I think maybe they were going to continue, because she was brought back to life by the Book of the Dead. You don't just come back normal like that. I think that maybe they were going to do something with that, but because one, they had to recast the role, and two, they were doing a completely different story, they decided, or maybe they had to recast the role, they decided to do a completely different story. I don't know, but it's. I remember I went to see this, and I wanted to give her a chance. I'm like, you know what? It's not the right person. It's not the same character. She's way too serious. Rachel Weisz had the quirkiness about her and the character of Evie. Maria Bello is too damn serious in this movie. There's one scene where they try to make her be funny, and that's when she comes downstairs, she's in a robe or something, and she's trying to seduce O'Connell, who's in a chair, and it's a gag, he's asleep, but she's like seducing him, and she's talking about the mummy or whatever, and she finds out he's asleep, and she's like, they try to make that funny. It's not funny because that he's asleep the whole time she's trying to do that. It's not funny. When I first saw this movie, I liked it. I thought it was okay. I was ready to continue the next film, but with Alex as the main character. And if they had done that, I think it would have worked. But I said, well, Alex is now grown up. I don't know how long it's been. I think this is the 1940s, late 30s. I don't know, I'm not sure. But Alex is all grown up now, and I think it would have suited well to continue the story with Alex and even Jonathan, even though Jonathan has clearly overstayed his welcome in this franchise, as he is very unnecessary in this movie. In the first one, he was connected to it. He was a part of it because he stole the key from O'Connell, so he was connected from the beginning. In the second one, yeah, he's part of it. He was there. He had to watch the kid. Here, there's really no purpose for him except for to make funny jokes that aren't really funny. Except for the one thing I do think is funny is when the Yetis show up and the Chinese woman, the love interest for Alex, starts speaking to the Yetis, and he says, "She speaks Yeti?" That's the only line I think is funny in this entire movie. He's unnecessary. That's what I'm saying. But if they were going to continue with Alex, he needs someone familiar, especially if they could continue where this movie ends. And I'll get to that. But yeah, they could have continued. Now, the one thing I've complained about in these movies is the CGI. So I went to this thing in case 2008. CGI's got to look way better than it has, right? No. It's better. Not that better. They decide that because this is a different mummy, that the emperor, when he's a mummy, has to be a stone statue. And when he walks around, it's like I'm watching a video game. The Yetis are the most realistic CGI they have in here, okay? The Yetis and the dragon. The Yetis and the dragon. When the Emperor, the Emperor can like fire, water, stuff like that, and it can change shape. So it's a very powerful mummy. But it's Jet Li. And it's confusing how in the flashbacks he has a mustache and a goatee thingy here. But then when he comes back, he's just clean shaven. I don't know. Maybe they couldn't draw the mustache and the beard thingy in stone. I don't know. But they do eventually freed the mummy because they have to take this little dagger thingy and stab him with it to finish it. Of course they do. They defeat the mummy. She thanks the Chinese lady has to give up her immortality, as does the daughter. and so the daughter is going to be with Alex. And this is where I want to continue, because the O'Connells once again retire, and Alex is still going to be an adventurer. And then we see Jonathan, say, I'm going to Peru where there are no mummies. And then there's a tame possible on the screen that says, mummies were soon found in Peru. That is your end. They know they were planning something totally different originally. I don't remember what it was. I might do a separate video on that. I could look it up, get you information. I was going to do it, but forgot. But what they could have done is take Alex, is that, well, in Peru, Jonathan and a group of Jonathan is in Peru. Well, what happened? Jonathan in Peru, and a group of people accidentally release a mummy. So he calls the O'Connell and Evie, but they're retired. So they send Alex and his girlfriend, and they're the ones that carry on this legacy. You know, it would have worked, but now we got Tom Cruise. Yeah, I'll do a separate video on what, because the Mummy franchise is kind of close to my heart. At least the first two. This one, however, give it a 5. A 5 out of 10 for me. Now you may be sitting there, Scotty, if you didn't like it so much, and if it's not close to your heart like the other two, why did you review it? Because it's part of this franchise. It's connected to two movies I do love. And, you know, I kind of want to put out there that they don't always have to be movies from my childhood. They could be remakes or reimaginings of movies or TV shows that I watched growing up. You know, reboots, you know, adaptations of stuff that I grew up with, like, say, Scooby-Doo or Power Rangers 2017, you know, stuff like that. But where would I start? Where is there a movie that came out recently that was remade? Remade that got me frustrated. Did it. So what other one is a remake of a classic from when I was a kid? Well, a movie that I went to see in the theaters when I was a kid. So I have a connection to. Just something that they changed just a little bit and got me just a little bit frustrated. What could it be? That'll do, pig. That'll do.